Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today I wanted to talk about my first wedding. Let me preface this by saying that the month that I did this was May 2019. My friend was going to get married at the very end of May 2019, and she told me months in advance, like November 2018. So I was getting mentally prepared for that being my very first wedding. However, my first wedding was at the very beginning of May 2019 because I had a coworker tell me that his sister wanted to have me as the photographer. The day before is when I found out, and I freaked out. And I was going through this metamorphosis in my mindset and how I should take things that scare me and I should just jump and attack life. And I told myself, this is big. This could be a huge wedding. It could be a small wedding. It doesn't matter. I should do it. And I wanted the experience, so I told him yes. Lo and behold, the day comes, I'm getting ready. I'm kind of scared to do it, but I tell myself, you better go and do a good job. And once everything was said and done, and I started editing the pictures and I gave her the pictures, sigh of relief that everything came out pretty freaking good. And I'm smiling so hard because I'm very proud of what I did. You know, you could create something so beautiful in a matter of seconds if you're pressured to do it. They say that pressure creates diamonds, and some of these pictures are diamond worthy, I'll tell you that. Why don't we start with some of these pictures just to give you an idea of how my day went. The first thing I did was when I found out the time, I also wanted to find out the venue. And I wanted to get as much information as I could as far as like the schedule for the day, so I know like when we were going to do certain things, and none of that was really laid out. All I really got was the time the ceremony was going to start, what time they wanted me to be there, and I googled the venue and I started looking at pictures that people had shot of the venue, and the venue was pretty nice. It was a nice little stairwell. And immediately I kind of felt comfortable. I was like, I could do something with the stairwell. But when I showed up there, I was literally the first one. I showed up like 1:30 or 1 o'clock. They wanted me like there at 2 or something like that. There's nobody there. And it's one of these buildings where the first floor is a reception hall, the second floor is a set of offices, and then the third floor is another set of offices. So there's people in the building, and I thought they all worked there for the reception hall. But no, they were working for like law firms and like insurance agencies upstairs, so nobody was telling me anything as far as leave, you can't be here, you're trespassing. So I just took it upon myself to get some practice shots, and immediately here, this is the fourth picture in the gallery. This is just a nice simple look at how the tables were set up for the banquet hall, for the reception hall. Beautiful bows that were green, contrasted very nicely on gold plates, and I wanted to get some depth of field on these pictures, and you can see how I did that there. The other thing is I wanted to take some practice shots so I could practice the lighting. I really wanted to see what angles worked, how I could get great shots later on. This is the next one, number 5, and this is just a nice shot of the venue. I'm sure that the bride and groom would appreciate to see how the venue was set up before it was kind of wrecked by all the guests and used up. So just a lot of practice with seeing what worked, what didn't, you know, what I wanted my shutter speed at, what I wanted my aperture and my ISO at. I shot almost all of this on manual, I believe. I don't think I went to auto or aperture priority at all. This is all shot manual. So I was trying to get all my settings together, seeing which lens I wanted to use. If I wanted to shoot a lot on the 50 or the 35, those were the only ones in my disposal. That is a beautiful shot of the venue. The very first shot, the other thing is I wanted to see if I can get guests up against these windows. This is shot number 6. And for the most part, I didn't really like this. So I just told myself, don't play with the windows. Just stay away from the light. Just kind of use more of the ambience light that was already there and use the light coming through the windows, but don't actually use the windows. So just something to kind of look at. This is picture number 10. This is a beautiful shot. Once I took this shot, I was like, oh, I really like the colors. The gold in the chandeliers, the purple lighting, the beautiful contrast of the white chairs and sheets. And I told myself, okay, this is going to be a good day. This is when I got kind of comfortable. And I said, this is going to be a good day. And that was a very nice banquet hall. And this is probably something that they can use on their website, but I'm going to keep it to myself. So anyways, then I met Koi, the groom. And this is just me. Finally, I have a subject here to work with. So this is not even like I gave him this picture. I gave them this picture. But this was just more for me to practice. And the biggest thing is when you are doing your first wedding, remember, you're there as a fly on the wall. You're supposed to capture how the day is going. That's the story you're going for. You're not going for awesome portraits and like shots of just the dress. Like you're there to capture the moment. So just kind of have that mindset that you're supposed to capture every little piece of the wedding. Do not be lazy. Don't be one of these photographers that's like, oh, I'm gonna take a 15, I'll be back. No, you're there for the whole freaking day. You stick with them side by side. If you leave them, it better be because you're shooting the other guests so that, you know, the bride and groom have pictures of like everybody that attended their wedding. Do not be lazy. Do not sit around and wait for big moments. Take pictures of everything because you might capture a gem when you're not even expecting it. So I gave him this picture. This is just me trying to practice with a real subject, moving subject, and see if I could capture anything. And this was just a nice little practice shot before anything even got started. Over here in picture number 11, this is just Maritza getting her daughter's dress. And I think the flowers were arriving at this moment. Like nothing in the venue was really set up for the actual ceremony. So they were gonna get all that build. And I was just capturing all of this. This is just a candid, mundane picture, but it was starting to get me comfortable and it was starting to make them feel comfortable with my presence because just think about, you're already nervous. You're thinking of 100 things on your checklist for your wedding to not be a disaster. The last thing you need is for somebody to be holding a camera right in your face the whole time. This was just me to kind of show them I'm going to give you some distance, but I'm going to be with you the whole way, capturing your special day. Once that was being done for Maritza, Koi, I kind of borrowed him to start taking some pictures of him. I didn't know how much, since it was all in one venue, the ceremony and the reception, I didn't know where I was going to fit in alone time with them. So I was like, before anybody shows up, let's get some pictures of you guys solo, and then maybe we can take some pictures of you guys together. So this was a private room where people could get dressed and set up, and this is where Koi got dressed. And I saw that we had these overhead floodlights in there, and I told him, let me do like a smoky black and white type picture. There's no smoke here, but it was kind of like what I had in my head, like an old school 1920s, like dark, shadowy silhouette type of shot. It worked out really well. I liked it. I just wish the room was designed a little bit differently. But overall, I got the effect that I really wanted. It's very mysterious, very shadowy. And it's, I don't know, I really like this picture. After that, I took Koi to the stairwell that I said there was, and it was a bit of a challenge. I would say that looking through some of these pictures, this is number 16, it was a challenge to get the lighting correct here, and I did use an ND filter because I didn't want the picture to be overexposed. And I got some really rich color off of this. This is some nice warm, like kind of gold tan sand color on everything, and it kind of like the light kind of bounces off on him. So you got this nice kind of elegant look to the picture that I really, really, really like. And this is one of those pictures that came out really good actually. So I was very proud of that one. I also wanted to do some where like I started talking to the groom. The one thing you want to do is like talk to them, show them the pictures that you're taking so that they can get excited for what work you guys are both doing, because you're both collaborating, you as a photographer and them as the model and the subject. And this is one where I was kind of trying to see if I can get his candid smile so that he didn't look nervous or awkward in all the pictures, because he doesn't know me. We had just met not even 30 minutes ago. And I'm just trying to kind of get a feel for him, get friendly so that he knows that I'm a pretty cool dude. Just trying to get on his good side, because you don't know, you could have a terrible subject that is very antisocial, hates people, or the vice versa. You can have a photographer that's just there for the payday and doesn't care about your day. I want to let him know that I care about your day. This is this is my profession. This is what I do. Like, I care and I empathize that this is a huge day. I'm your friend today. And we became really good friends. And this is just one nice picture, picture 20, where I was able to kind of get one of those like candid smiles where I think we were kind of getting off on the right foot. The last one I'll show of this section was 22. I just really like this picture. I feel like he's relaxed now. We've warmed up, and he's just kind of being himself, and just kind of starting to relax and take it all in. And I feel that at this point, he was kind of okay with me just taking pictures and just firing away. And my objective was complete. He was comfortable, he was happy, we now knew each other, and we had a good rapport going forward. I borrowed Maritza, kind of did the same thing. This is picture 23, smoky bar, 1920s type look, beautiful shadows. Just enough so you could see her face. Nice detailing on the bejeweled sequined dress here. But I wanted to get out of here. I tried to see if I could add any color to this, but as you could tell on picture 26, it's just the way the light was bouncing off, and then you had neon lights from the actual reception hall bouncing into the room. It wasn't really working. Had I known that I could have just shut the door at the moment, I didn't process that right there. I was like, let me just close the door so I'm not getting this flood of neon purple lights coming in. Picture could have been a lot better. But this is your film. This is when football players look at their tape from their game, they try to see holes, weaknesses. This is one weakness, like, hey, next time you're having this issue, check to see if you can get rid of that light. Turn it off, close the door. Now I know for next time. This is how you learn. You're not going to learn this stuff if you're not doing it out on the field, getting that experience. And that's why I took this job. Little details like that will make a huge difference. There's some great pictures that I got of Maritza on the stairwell. For example, this is picture 34. Beautiful. I just love the way that the railing just takes you straight to her. Her pose, her hair, the color that we had with Koi is coming into play even more because of her dress. This was just a perfect afternoon as well. We got the light just right in the position in the sky of where it was in the afternoon, which I think it was like during spring and summer. So we had beautiful lighting coming in from like the southwest, and it was hitting her perfect. I really love the way these pictures came out. There's another example, number 46, goes to show that she was really comfortable right away. She does a little bit of photography herself, so I think she knew what she wanted out of the pictures, and I was a good liaison to get her the types of images she wanted. And you could just tell here that she's a natural model. The only thing wrong with this picture is that it might be a little bit, it might not be straight, but that's okay, because you kind of get a little bit of motion in there, and then the highlights are a little bit overblown. So I have to reevaluate when I'm shooting to make sure that I'm double checking if the lighting's correct. And I do have the histogram on my back screen to let me know if it's too overexposed. So I don't know if I didn't edit this down enough by bringing down the highlights or what, but that's the only thing that's after a year now that is kind of sticking out to me. So again, you learn as you go. Now, if you guys have seen my previous videos, you'll see that for my review of my pictures of 2019, this was number 5 in the top 15 pictures that I took all year. This is the Maritza gold veil shot. We were just messing around, and she said, let me do one with the veil up. And I did, and it came out amazing. We got very lucky that there was a pillar covering her face so that it wasn't overexposed. If you look to the right of her face, the veil is just completely overexposed because the window and the sunlight was coming through the window and just completely overexposing that side of the veil. And for Maritza, because she has that shadow on there, you can see her face and the picture is saved. So we got very lucky. Sometimes you get those little gems that is very interesting on how you get them, and you realize that you got very lucky. Right place, right time. This is probably the picture of the wedding, in my opinion, even though Koi is not in it, because this is so artsy, so aesthetically pleasing to me to see, and it just looks like magic. We did magic with this shot, and this is unbelievable for me. Another thing to do is a nice cool down for me was getting some simple shots like of their detailing. So for example, picture 76 shows her bracelet and her ring. My aperture was probably a little bit too low because the ring is a little bit out of focus. So to counteract that, I also took a picture of the ring, but now the bracelet's out of focus. Looking back, I should have probably brought down my aperture so that I could have had both in focus. But the detailing on, separating both and detailing each was really nice. I did that with Koi and his watch as well on picture 80. Watch looks amazing to me. The gold just stands out so much with the black suit and the black shirt. So if you kind of feel like you're getting in a lull, don't forget to get just don't forget to take the details, because the details are very important in a wedding. If you are kind of in a, writer's block for photographers, think about maybe getting some detail shots, and then maybe like doing that, you'll get your juices flowing, and then you can come back and do some more portraits and some other things. The thing about Koi and Maritza is that their love, man, it's so strong. Over here, I have two back-to-back pictures that I took that to me were just amazing. Picture 71, Koi just so tenderly kissing his soon-to-be wife's hand. You could just see that these guys were in love. Picture 72, just a candid of how he looks at her, man, it melts my heart. These are the things that you should definitely try to get, and don't ever stop shooting. If you can also turn down. Do not have the beep on your camera. As soon as I get my cameras, I turn that thing off because it could be very distracting. All you want is to hear the shutter go off, because if they hear you taking pictures, you might not get a shot like that. So make sure that you're not doing that. After that, I got a couple more shots of the two, and then we started taking some pictures outside with the groomsmen once they started to show up. Oh, this one. I really love this. I'm Hispanic, and I used to grow up with tapes of like Mexican bands, and they always had the weirdest covers on there. They were always interesting, and picture 110 reminds me of that. This looks like a band, and it's just like a nice little candid where everybody's doing something a little bit different. I really like that picture, but overall the best group photo that I had was, I had a couple, but one of the examples here would be picture 114, just the four groomsmen together, having fun. There's other pictures where Koi's like laughing out loud, and they're just like busting each other's balls and just having a good old time. And I was there to witness all of it, and it was unbelievable. After that, I took them upstairs to get individual shots. This is a picture of Jesus. I think it's Jesus or Jose. I think it's Jesus. Picture 116, this is just him posing, and the lighting in here was perfect. We went up even further, up to like the second level right next to an office. At that time, the workers had gone home. It was past 5 or past 4, and had no disruptions, no interruptions. The light had turned officially west, and the way it was hitting this part of the building just got some nice soft light, and you could see that Jesus here was just like perfectly lit, nice contrast between his suit and everything else in there. It came out as a really, really, really great picture. Have another picture of another bridesmaid. This is a picture of Nava, the maid of honor. I want to say that this was 15 or 20 minutes apart from when I took the guys, or maybe 30, half an hour difference. So the sun at this point was still pretty high, but it was starting to go more northwest in how it was pointing down at us. And that's why I kind of started taking the pictures of the bride and the bridesmaids facing the stairwell as opposed to facing the wall. And you can see where the light is hitting her. She's beautifully exposed. You have nice dark shadows going down the stairwell, and it's a nice contrast of light and dark. And with the green, and the green dresses did such a great job to go with the golden background. So you have the nice contrast of green and gold here. And this was just an example of how you have to readjust your pictures. I could have taken the bridesmaids pictures in the same direction I took the guys, but they wouldn't have come out the same. The other thing is that if you just slightly turn the camera, now you have a variance in locations. Even though we're in the same spot, just what's in the background between the groomsmen and the bridesmaids, it shows that we were maybe in two locations. So you have a little bit of diversity in the gallery when you show them the pictures that you took. I also try to get kind of fun and creative. Like here's one picture, 195, of, I think it's Jennifer. I can't remember her name. This is a year ago, guys. I think this is Jennifer. I tried to make sure, I saw them going into the elevator because they were going to go downstairs. They were kind of trying to hide from all the people because Maritza at this time was now in her wedding gown. So we're going to take the elevator and sneak into that secret changing room. So they were going to take the elevator down as opposed to taking the stairwell where everybody was now looking. And I knew that they were going to go in and that the doors were going to close. And I was like, when the doors close, I want to get somebody in the crack. And I got Jennifer. And I just barely cut off one of her fingers. But this is the types of pictures that you should kind of have fun with. Try taking some of these. You should always be snapping. Don't let up for 1 second. Earn your money and earn their trust by taking their pictures. Some of my edits were in black and white. If there was a picture that I really liked the color, or if I just loved the picture overall, I gave them both. You have the black and white, it's very timeless. This is one of the pictures that I decided to just give them in black and white because, again, this was in that private room where you had the weird fluorescent lighting with the purple neon lighting. It didn't work. No matter how much I tried, I couldn't make it work. So I just decided to make it black and white. This is 198. This is Maritza listening to the Reverend who was gonna do the ceremony. And it's just a nice little timeless bride, black and white, getting ready moments before her actual vows and saying I do. So I thought this was a pretty cool picture. But that's just an example of like one picture that I decided to give them just black and white. And I'll give you guys an example of another picture that I took that was both in color and black and white. When it came down to the ceremony, I wanted to get as much as I could. This is a picture of Coy and the Reverend. This is 206. You have this beautiful glow. This is now officially almost golden hour. You're probably like maybe 30, 40 minutes away from golden hour. So by the time the ceremony is done, it'll be a full sunset. And I'm just getting this nice glow from the window. So I wanted to make sure that I got that. But at the same time, it was very challenging because I didn't want Coy to be too dark, almost a silhouette. I was able to kind of save it in post, and it's got a nice little glow. There's just so much gold in this wedding so far that this was challenging. This is a really cramped room. Let me show you a picture of how cramped I was. And it was very difficult to get much in this location because I just couldn't move as much as I wanted to. This is a picture. This is a picture where I actually framed them. I framed Coy and Maritza using one of the stairways guardrail. And where you see the white chairs, that's where I took the first picture. And there's really not much room to move around. Like it's either like I go to the end of the row, to the front of the row, or I go to the back of the room. I can't go to the front because I'm already at the front. So I decided to come around and come up the stairs and get some overhead shots, mess around with the guardrail, and and frame them using the guardrail. I think it's a cool effect. I didn't want to shoot too many pictures doing this because then it gets kind of it turns into a gimmick. But for just one shot or a couple, I think I took like 2 or 3 shots that I gave them with this and a nice little frame inside a frame. I think it worked. But this is the best I could do to show you guys how cramped I was. Unless I show you picture 1. This is an overhead of what it looked like. This was as they were finishing setting up. You could see the first row. I'm there. Over to the left of the, the frame set up there with the flowers and the curtain or whatever, that's where the bridesmaids were. So I couldn't go in between them, so I just decided to just either go to the very end of the row, to the front of the row, to the very back of the room, or go up the stairwell and get some overhead shots. So that was the venue. There is one picture that I wanted to highlight. This is Coy hugging Maritza's father, and I knew I got this picture, but when I was going through my gallery of the pictures I wanted to edit and give to them, when I clicked next and I saw that I captured this image, I lost my mind. I got up and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I got this. And I almost got teary-eyed because I was like, this is unbelievable. Great depth of field. This is like a movie poster. Like, I don't know why. I just really love it. I don't know if I love her how her dad looks like a model or whatever, but I just thought this was such a great moment. Great smile. It was a great moment in the ceremony, and I like it. This is one of those pictures that made me very satisfied with how the day went. These are one of those pictures that when you look through the viewfinder, not the viewfinder, but the back screen, and you preview it, you realize that you're doing a really good job and you should just keep going and just trust the process. After the ceremony, there was a big time moment where Coy was hugging someone, and there's a lot of emotion. I think I'll save that, but there's a big emotional embrace from everybody greeting them inside the reception hall, all hugs all around. So after that, I tried sneaking them off to the outside and trying to get some shots of both of them. The biggest thing is, this is picture 277. There's a parking lot with like a roof cover over the parking area. There's other buildings like restaurants and bars, and there's not a lot of nice scenic things out there. So I wanted to get pictures of Coy and Maritza in her wedding gown. It was very challenging, so what I decided to do was get low, get a higher up angle. What you're seeing here, you can see the parking structure right next to them. Luckily, had I not told you that, you might have not picked that out, but you have some beautiful color here in the sky, a nice glow because the sun's hitting my lens pretty harshly here, but perfectly lit, nice highlights, nice shadows, beautiful moment between the two. Shooting these guys, it was just a dream. They were just so easy to work with. Here's a picture of Maritza and Coy outside during golden hour. I wanted to get like a sun flare or like the sun just kind of coming through underneath their chins. Something I'd seen on like Pinterest and stuff. And it kind of worked out well. You get a little bit of the sun flare from in the glass there, and it's a nice golden hour kiss. I could have made them really dark here, but I just kind of wanted to show that it was them. I mean, I didn't want it to be some vague couple. I wanted to make sure that you knew that this was Coy and Maritza as an example. And this is one of those things where I would suggest to you have your own itinerary. And with this example of like me having to work around this parking area, you're gonna run into some issues, and have the foresight to foresee some of these things happening. So have your own itinerary. The number one thing is, if you know the venue ahead of time, go visit the venue maybe the day before, a week before, just so that you can start thinking about during the week, like what issues might I run into. Know the weather forecast, know what time everything is for the wedding, know what time they're going to be showing up for the wedding, so that you can pick out, okay, well, for example, now knowing what I know now is definitely go to the venue a day before, get some practice shots, see what the sun is where the sun location is gonna be at. What I know now is that I should be taking advantage of the groom at the very beginning of the wedding while the bride is getting ready, and making sure that I get him early so that then I can go upstairs or wherever the bride's room is and capture her getting ready. Because sometimes those big moments are when they're getting the makeup done or they're about to put on the dress. Make sure you're there early. You do this early. The other thing is know what times you're going to take pictures of both of them together. If it's before the ceremony, if they're okay with seeing each other before the wedding, or after the ceremony. Also know what guests are important to them. Make a list of who they want pictures of specifically, so that you don't capture a bunch of pictures of people that they're okay with, but then you didn't capture the moments of like the people that they really, really, really love. So just have an itinerary of the shots you need, what times are best to take the bride and groom, whose picture you should be taking that is not the bride and groom. Stuff like that will definitely go a long, long way. In the actual ceremony, the example that I wanted to show you guys of a picture that I gave them both in black and white is a beautiful picture of Koi hugging his mom after her toast. It was a long toast, very emotional, and afterwards you could just see the emotion just pouring out of the both of them. Very nice, tender moment. I loved the lighting in this. It was very beautiful, but at the same time, I couldn't help it. This is what it looks like in black and white. This is something that they can frame and share and have forever and ever. You get a little emotional looking at it, because you know, as a photographer, you're very proud that you got that moment, and you just know that this must mean so much for them to have and to treasure for the rest of their lives. And that's why we do it, man. Not much to say about that after that. You also get some cool shots of people dancing. Here's Koi with everybody around him. This picture 444. And you just want to capture everybody having fun at this. This is the point where you can just relax. All the hard part is done. Everybody's dancing. They've had their cake. They've done everything. I will say this. I feel like I messed up the cake. I tried going behind them. I couldn't get a shot. I went to the front of them. People got in front of me. That's one of those things that you really want to have planned out and talk to them. Say, hey, can I have this placement here? Be this close. Do this. Can you guys like wait until I give you the cue to proceed with like feeding each other and stuff like that? Just so that they're like, oh wait, you know, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, and collaborate and get all that stuff together. And that's one of the things that I will be doing in future weddings, just so that the bride and groom know that like, hey, if you guys just kind of go ahead and do something, I might miss it if you guys don't wait for like my cue to be like, okay, I'm ready, do whatever you want. Because the cake cutting kind of started, I wasn't in position, and by the time I was, like, all the moments were gone. So just make sure that you tell them that, hey, like, I just wait for my signal to let you guys know to like continue and proceed with these events. There's another cool picture that I wanted to showcase. This one. I really like this because it's everybody together. You have Maritza's daughter there, and you don't see her face, but it's okay because she is very young, so I didn't want her I have a picture of her, which is the next one, this one, showing, which is also very beautiful. There's something about the other one, though, that I really like, but both pictures are really nice. These are the ones that you want to make sure that you're in position for, so you have to hustle, you have to run around and make sure that you get these shots, because once you miss this moment, the moment's gone. It's completely gone. And then afterwards, I got a picture with both of them. I try to make sure that for all my shoots at the very end, I get a picture with whoever I shot. This is after everything was over with. Setup is almost completely done. I'm about to go home for the night. And it's just to commemorate the moment. I thank these guys so much for the opportunity. I know it was kind of impromptu, it was kind of late, it could have gone with anybody, but at the end of the day it was me, so I just want to thank them for allowing me to do this. It was my first wedding, my first real paid gig that started many, and they will always hold a special place in my heart for that day. That day was spiritually, it was really great, very spiritually awakening for me in my mindset of being a real photographer, carrying myself like a real photographer. and I owe them the world for this day. And that's the thing, you guys can't have fear. If you guys are afraid to do something, that's how you know that you should be doing it, because once you conquer that thing, you start chasing for other goals and other fears to conquer. Whether it's a high-paying job, or a job where you have to travel to Sweden, or a job that you have to do for this super big wedding, or this conference that you need to shoot at, whatever it is, you just start to chase those things, because the more experience you get, the easier it all gets. I want to get to the point where I could do a beautiful wedding that pays a lot of money for two people that are very super important in the world, and me not be worried about it because I know that I got it. That's the type of level I want to get to. And that is the story of how I did my first wedding. At the very end of the night, I was physically and emotionally drained, and it took me quite a bit to get the pictures. It took me like maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks to get the pictures done, and also have a nice type of preset done, so that you don't, all you have to do is change the highlights, shadows, maybe some of the colors, and not do all the vignetting, the sharpening, the color correction, the lens correction, the tone curve. Have all that stuff already set so that your workflow can go a lot quicker, because I probably could have gotten these pictures done within 3 to 4 days if I had some sort of preset to kind of apply and then just kind of adjust. But I like to manually touch up every picture. I don't like to slap on anything on there. And I gave them a lot of pictures. I believe I gave them in total 473 pictures. Have a package where you can give somebody like 100 to 75 pictures, so that you don't have to overwork after the wedding, after the event, so that you can make yourself your life a lot easier, because maybe you're shooting a wedding the next weekend. You don't want to get backed up on pictures that you're trying to edit. That's one of the things that I haven't gotten to yet, because I haven't had back-to-back jobs. But for the rest of that month, I was very busy, and I was able to get all the pictures done in time. And little by little, I was giving less and less pictures, and decreasing the total count, just because sometimes you don't have to give them every single moment. You could give them all the pictures you took, but maybe only edit a couple of them. And that is it. So if you guys learned anything from this video, I think this video went really long. It's going to take a while to edit this one, but thank you guys if you guys made it to the very end. If you guys learned anything, or if you have questions, go ahead and write them in the comments below. I will answer them. Hit subscribe so you guys don't miss future videos. With that being said, guys, that will do it for me. I will catch you guys on the next video. Have a good day.